My name's Joe Balog, and my assignment today is to introduce you to the Ranger 600 Series Comanche. I fish a lot of big water, primarily the Great Lakes, and this is by far my favorite boat. You can get a lot of specs and stats out of catalogs, but what I want to do today is show you the 5 or 6 things that truly make the 600 Series the best big water boat out there. The first thing people notice about a 600 Series Ranger when I pull up to the boat ramp is how big and massive this keel is. And that's what separates this boat from a traditional bass boat design when it comes to handling big water. It'll keep you a lot drier, it's a lot more stable, and it runs phenomenal in a heavy chop. In a minute we're going to run out on the lake here and show you exactly what it can do, but I think it's important to point out that this is what separates a 600 Series from a traditional bass boat design. One of my favorite options of the 600 Series Ranger is this massive back deck. Now with this back deck in, we've got all kinds of places to throw some stuff for dry storage beneath it. And we've got a huge platform up here for our co-anchor. This probably is larger than any back casting deck or back platform in any boat, bass boat, walleye boat, anything available on the market today. The other great thing about this back deck though, totally removable. You pull a couple little screws out, the whole thing comes out. Now we've got this big area and all this floor space for people that are more comfortable down here on the floor in rough water. They could still stand up on the back corners or on the back deck if they'd like to. But again, tons of floor space. If you're guiding people, working with the press like I do a lot of, 2-3 people in the boat at one time, all kinds of room for their gear, all kinds of stability. The pedestal seat can go on the back deck or in any one of the holes in the back in order to have a nice chair for fishing in, sit down and enjoy and relax. Hey, a couple of not so obvious things about this 600 Series Ranger that make it the ultimate big water boat. First is these seats. Just like a car seat, this is a fully adjustable back and forth, up and down pedestal seat. But the great thing about it is your feet are up underneath your body. Rather than in a bass boat where your feet are traditionally way out in front when you're driving the boat, in this seat you've got your feet up underneath you. That gives you a lot better base. You're a lot more stable in rough water when you're driving in rough water, and not all of the abuse of the boat transfers into your back. You get to really support yourself. The other thing, the fuel tank in this boat is up in the front of the boat. Rather than like a bass boat where it's traditionally behind the seats in the rear of the boat, the fuel tank is up front. That really helps when it comes to rough water, keeping the bow down and keeping stable. You don't do nearly as much slap up and down like you do in a bass boat because you've got a lot of your weight being your fuel up in the front of the boat. The other thing, which we're going to show you now that we're out here on Lake Erie, is that really helps for hole shot. As soon as you throttle the boat, the front jumps up and comes right back down, even with a 3-blade prop. So in a minute, we're going to take this boat out and actually run it in some rough water and show you all these advantages that we've been talking about. All right, we finally made it out here to Lake Erie. Not the famous rough water conditions that we're used to. A pretty nice calm day today, but we could still demonstrate a little bit of the performance aspects of the 600 Series Ranger. The first thing about it that I like and that's so noticeable is the hole shot on this boat. Just like a bass boat, you throttle it down and it jumps up out of the hole immediately. We're only running a 3-blade prop on our Mercury and we're already up and out of the hole on our way to 60+ miles an hour. Hey, Joe Balog again about the 600 Series Ranger out here on Lake Erie. Another subtle aspect about this boat, the batteries. The batteries for your trolling motor are located in the floor of this boat, near the center of the boat, rather than all the way in the back like a traditional bass boat. We've got 3 31 series batteries for our Minn Kota up front. Gives us 36 volts, the biggest batteries you can buy. And as you can see, they fit neatly right here in this battery storage compartment. Couple things about that that makes it unique. Number one, again, puts more weight in the center and front of the boat, which keeps our nose down and allows us to run better in rough water. Second, and more importantly in my situation, is it gives me access to the batteries real easy. I don't have to dig out my spare prop. I don't have to go in the back and getting little areas in order to work on the batteries. You know, putting all the stress that I put on batteries throughout the course of a year fishing on Lake Erie, I need to constantly be adding water to these, making sure that they're secure, making sure that they're working properly, and this gives me perfect access to the batteries, allows me to turn my trolling motor on and off right there at the breaker. It's right here, they're completely out of the way, and they really help me in big water situations. Hey, the center of the front of the boat of the 600 series Ranger's got a big giant rod storage box, just like any other big bass boat, capable of holding a dozen plus rods and reels. But the aspect of the storage that I really like is the rear storage. It makes a tremendous difference in big water. The rear live well back here is a giant live well located right in the middle of the rear of the boat, the most stable part of your ride in big water. Helps keep your fish stable, helps keep your fish healthy and alive. The amount of storage in the back on the side compartments is unbelievable. Spare prop, oxygen system, big giant 20-pound anchor and chain, all the big water stuff I need is secure. It's mounted to the floor of the boat back here. Throwable cushions, life jackets, rain gear, tools, waterproof containers, you name it. I've got everything stored away down below in all these compartments, again, in the rear of the boat, giving me a real nice, stable ride for all my big, heavy items in my boat. Unbelievable storage. That's one of the best things about the 600 series Ranger. One question I always get from people who are considering a 600 series Ranger rather than a traditional bass boat design is how's the fishability of the boat? They know it's great in rough water, they know it has all these storage options, but how well does it actually fish? I can tell you, with today's modern trolling motors, this being a 62-inch shaft Minn Kota Fortrix, you're not sacrificing anything with fishability up here. We've got 101 pounds of thrust on this trolling motor. This motor is capable of holding this boat over precise structure in 5, 6, and even 7-foot waves. I know that's hard to believe, but on the Great Lakes, we do it all day long. The other thing about this motor, you simply lift it up a little bit, and this boat will go shallow anywhere that a bass boat will go. Whether you're largemouth fishing a little bit or fishing in the spring when the fish are spawning, you can get right up there shallow and continue to fish the way you'd normally fish, but have a big, giant, stable ride to do it out of. Well, there you have it. A few not so obvious options and traits of the Ranger 600 series. If you're somebody that primarily fishes big water and you want to stay dry and not sacrifice any fishability out of the boat, the 600 Comanche from Ranger is definitely the boat for you. I know it's my choice.